Hello, we are here to discuss about the important questions which could be asked in Karnataka Bank examination interview. Right? From now onwards, I will be addressing you as bankers. Why? Because you have already qualified for the written examination. You are just one step away from becoming a banker. Let me introduce myself first. My name is Shashidhar Sir. I have qualified in IBPS PO, IBPS RRB PO, and I have worked in a bank, in a premier bank, which is situated in Karnataka for a period of 5 years. Apart from this, I have an experience of 3 years in teaching field, right? So today we will be discussing what kind of questions which could be asked in Karnataka Bank interview, right? The questions could be from two sections, right? The first one is personality based questions. Second one is subject based questions. What do you mean by personality based questions? Personality based questions are the questions which are from the point of view, your personality, your character, and what kind of a person are you, right? So we'll be dealing with those questions in step by step way, right? Fine. Now, personality based questions. The first question whenever you enter interview room would be introduce yourself or tell me about yourself. So that is a very important question. Why an interviewer asks that question to any candidate? Just there are many reasons. First reason could be that the interviewer wants you people to be comfortable with the process of interview, right? Second one is he wants to know how is your communication skills, how will you explain about yourself, right? So that could be a reason, right? So you should introduce yourself in a very positive way. What kind of a person are you? Are you introvert, or are you extrovert, or are you multitasking, right? Use some proper adjectives and you should know the meaning of it also, right? Then we'll go to the hobbies. Hobbies are very important, right? We should mention the hobbies. We should mention such hobbies which about which you already have some knowledge, right? So example, if I mention that my hobby is lawn tennis, and the interview could be asking how many grand slams are held in a year, right? So you should be in a position to answer the subordinate questions, right? So make a list of hobbies, and those hobbies should be you should be having particular knowledge about it, right? Fine. So hobbies, finalizing or speaking about hobbies and speaking about yourself is a very important thing, because first impression is the best impression, right? So make sure that you prepare a list of the hobbies which you know. Please don't include hobbies such as playing some indoor games, right? And watching TV, right? Mention such hobbies which relate to some personality development. That would be better. Now we'll go to the next thing, that is about your family members. Why the interviewer wants to know about your family members? Again, same thing. He wants to know about you as well as your family members, just because you are going to join a bank if you are selected, right? So at that time, since bank is a organization which deals with money, he or she, the interviewer, wants to know from what background you have come, right? So that is a very important question. You should explain about your family members in a brief, right? Then about relocating and posting. What do you mean by relocating? Relocating is nothing but assume that you have been selected and you have been posted in a branch, urban branch. Let us say you have been posted in an urban branch. After some time, you will not be there permanently. After 3 years, you will be transferred, or after 5 years, you will be transferred, right, to a rural place or a semi-urban branch or a bigger city like Bangalore, Delhi, Chennai, like that. So the interview would be asking you whether will you be able to work in a rural branch. Then your answer should be yes, because it doesn't matter where they post, when they post, at what time they transfer, right? So we should be in a position to work wherever they post. Agree that it is accepted that they will post you in a good branch and which is comfortable to you, right? Now we'll start with the strengths and weaknesses. What is your strength? What is your weakness, right? Strengths should be, you should be making a list of things which are your strength. You should be making a list of what are your weakness. Like I am good, I'm a team player, right? I am good at leadership. Those can be your strengths. What are your? I'm not good at multitasking. I take time to understand the things, right? So make a list of things which actually helps you in giving a good impression to the interviewer. Right? Then we'll go to the next one. What is the biggest achievement in your life and where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? This is a very important question. Yake. So if you have some achievements, like if you have won an essay competition or a debate competition, or if you are a topper in your academics, all those things you should make a list of it and you should tell about it, because it helps in building your personality in front of the interviewer. And the next thing is, where do you see yourself in the coming or next 5 years? That is very important question, because the interviewer will be very eager to know whether you are goal oriented or not, right? So each and every person should be goal oriented. He or she should be always focusing on the next higher positions, right? So you should be in a position to answer this question also, right? Then comes the very important question. As we see, there are a huge number of engineers or people who have background of computer science are coming into banking industry. The next question would be, why banking after BE or BTech or MCA, like that? So for that, you should be in a position to answer and you should substantiate your answer also, right? So these are all some subjective questions which we have selected for the interview, right? So apart from this, they can ask some more questions. So just make sure that you should be positive and don't give any chance to exploit the answer which you are giving, right? We'll be moving to the next slide. The next slide is about subject based questions. Here subject means finance or related to the banking. So since it is a banking interview, it is an interview for the post of a clerk or officer in a bank, right? So you are going to expect some or the other questions from the related field. Now I have selected few questions. Let us discuss them, right? So do you have a savings account in a bank, and in which bank? What is the rate of interest of that particular account? As we already know, most of the students or most of you would be having a bank account. I doubt that you will not be having any account, right? So if you have an account in XYZ bank, right, what is the interest which the bank is giving for that particular account? Say SB, savings bank account, or let it be a RD account or a FD account, right? Suppose if you have taken a loan, education loan for your graduation, right? So you should be knowing the interest rate for that also. Again, I want to say one more thing here. If you have availed a education loan, the loan should be regular. You should have paid the EMIs regularly. That is very important, because nowadays the banks are checking your CIBIL records, and if your loan is not regular, then there is a possibility that they may reject your candidature, or they may ask you to repay the loan and submit the regularity certificate or no objection certificate from the bank from where you have taken the loan, right? So this is very important question from the bank point of view. Then now the most important question, what is a bank? Basic questions on general banking. What is a bank? That could be a question, right? So everybody knows about the bank. ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ? ಡಿಪಾಸಿಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಸಾಲ ತಗೋತೀವಿ, ಕರೆಕ್ಟಾ? These are the two primary functions of a bank, right? So you should be in a position to answer or define a bank. What is bank? Bank is a financial organization which accepts deposit and lends money to the needy people. That is the basic definition. If you tell this definition, that would be very fine, right? Then basic questions on general banking. So apart from accepting deposits and lending money to the needy people, what does a bank do? Bank provides insurance. Bank acts as an agency and it sells the insurance policies, right? Bank provides locker facility, right? Bank also provides ATM facility, right? All the other functions which a bank does, should know basic things, right? Now we'll be going to the next question. What is the difference between bank and banking? Now Just now I explained what is a bank, and now the question is, what is the difference between bank and banking? Bank is a financial organization which accepts deposits and lends money to the people. What about banking? Banking is nothing but process. The things which I defined in definition of bank is nothing but the banking. The process of accepting the deposits, the process of lending the money, the process of issuing a locker, the process of sanctioning a loan is nothing but banking, right? So you should be in a position to answer the difference between bank and banking, right? That is a basic question. Now we'll see types of deposits and advances. Now, what do you mean by deposits and what do you mean by advances? We should be knowing about it. And what are the types of deposits we have? And what are the types of accounts do we have in bank? Basically, there are two types of accounts. Those are term deposit, or you can call it as time deposit. At the same time, demand deposit. What do you mean by demand deposit? Current account, savings account. Time deposits, FD, RD. Demand deposit ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? SB account, current account. Demand deposit ಅಂತ ಯಾಕೆ ಕರೀತಾರೆ? Because the customer would be maintaining some balance, some amount in his or her account. Whenever the customer comes to the bank, when he demands, you should be, that is, banker should be in a position to pay the amount from his account. So such accounts are called demand deposit accounts. And what about time deposits accounts? RD and FD. These accounts are there for a period of fixed time. I agree that you can withdraw the amount prior to the maturity, but still while opening an account, RD account or FD account, say we are opening an account, FD account for a period of 1 year, right? That amount will be there for a period of 1 year. Such accounts are called time deposit accounts. Now, I hope that you have noted down all these questions. If you have not, please pause the video and please write down the questions and prepare for the answers, right? Now we'll move to the next slide. Again, types of banks I already discussed. I discussed about types of accounts. Now, types of banks. What are the types of banks we have? As you have already read, you have already written the examination for general awareness specifically related to the financial sector, right? So banks aito, banking aito. Now types of banks. There are, as we already know, there are public sector banks, there are private sector banks, there are foreign banks, there are regional rural banks, there are NBFCs, right? So there are specialized banks like Exim, Export Import Bank of India. Then there is NABARD, right? So you should be in a position to explain or explain the types of a bank in India. Now, what types of bank is Karnataka Bank? That is very important question. Why? Because we are attending interview for Karnataka Bank clerical post, right? So what is Karnataka Bank? First of all, whether it is a public sector bank, whether it is a private sector bank, whether it is a foreign bank, the answer is Karnataka Bank is a private sector bank, right? Private sector Indian bank, right? There are private sector banks which are Indian. There are private sector banks which are from other countries also, right? So Karnataka Bank is a private sector bank. Where is the headquarters of Karnataka Bank? The headquarters of Karnataka Bank is in Mangaluru. That is the first thing. And we should know who is the managing director or chief executive officer, CEO of Karnataka Bank. I'm not telling the MD or CEO's name just because I want you people to go to Karnataka Bank's website and read about it. There is a separate section called About Us. Please go through the details which they have given in that section. And it would be helpful for you people to answer the questions, anything which they ask related to the Karnataka Bank. And about Karnataka Bank, where are its headquarters? I already discussed, right? So when was Karnataka Bank started? Karnataka Bank started in the year 1924, right? By another 2 years, it is going to complete 100 years. How many branches it has? It has around 879 branches, right? So the branches are distributed in 22 states and 2 union territories. All this information has been given in Karnataka Bank's website. At the same time, we will be also discussing about these things in our next coming video, right? Now, we'll be discussing more about various products of Karnataka Bank and interest rate of those products. When we are going for an interview about for a bank, we should be knowing what type of accounts the bank has, right? Products means type of deposit accounts, type of loan accounts, or any other products which the bank provides. Right? So suppose if you go for deposits, what is the rate of interest for SB account? If you go for FD or RD, what is the rate of interest they are giving? What is the low interest rate they are charging for vehicle loan, housing loan, mortgage loan? Just have a basic idea about it. All these things you will again get in the Karnataka Bank's website. Fine. Now we'll be moving to the next question or next point, that is net profit or loss of Karnataka Bank as on 31st March 2022. As we already know, the financial year is from 1st March to 1st April to 31st March. So based on the 31st March 2022 figure, they might be asking you what is the net profit which Karnataka Bank earned. You should be in a position to tell about it. I think the value is around 507.99 crores for 507.99 crores which the bank earned as a profit for the year 2022. Then June 22, the latest one, you should be updated. What is the net profit that Karnataka Bank has earned for the first quarter, that is June 2022? The profit earned is 104.05 crores. Right? You just remember the values. It may be asked, it may not be asked. It is better to remember, right? So now we'll be moving to the next slide. Now, what are assets and what are liabilities? So when we know about types of accounts in the bank, we should also know about the assets and liability. What do you mean by asset and what do you mean by liability? Right? So just pause the video and think about it. Then resume the video. So assets are nothing but the loans. Liabilities are nothing but deposits. Sir, ulta ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಇಲ್ಲ. Asset ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಸಾಲಗಳು, liabilities ಅಂದ್ರೆ deposits. ಯಾಕೆ? Just because deposit, if you have an account with a bank, the bank SB account or deposit type of account, the bank has to pay some amount, the interest, hence the bank is liable to pay interest to the customer, right? So the depositor is a liability. What about loan accounts? The bank lends some amount. Say example, the bank has sanctioned around 10 lakhs of loan to purchase some vehicle, right? So the customer would be charged some interest on that. The interest would be paid by whom? Customer. So the bank is earning interest from the loans. Hence, the loans are the assets of the bank. So just you should know, in case if they ask what are assets and liability. Assets are nothing but loans. Liabilities are nothing but deposits. And we'll go to the next point. What is the difference between loans and advances? In difference illa. ಏನಿದೆ ಡಿಫ್ರೆನ್ಸು? ಎರಡು ಸೇಮು. ಏನು ಸೇಮು? ಎರಡು ಸಾಲ ಕೊಡ್ತೀವಿ. In both the cases we lend the money. Only the thing is the duration. That is very, very important. The other differences you will learn when you join the bank, when you start working in the bank. Right? Loan starts with the letter L. L ಅಂತಂದ್ರೇನು? Long term. And advances ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ short term. Example, housing loan. If you take a housing loan, suppose assume that your father has taken a housing loan to construct a house. What would be the duration of the repayment? It will be at least 10 years, 15 years or 20 years, right? The longer period is given. That's why housing loans are called loans, because the duration of the loan is for a longer period. Whereas advances means the duration is just 1 year. Example, overdraft facility, you would have heard about it. You would have heard about cash credit, right? So here the bank will fix a limit, say 10 lakhs to a businessman. What he will do? He will take some amount whenever it is required, and suppose if he takes money, if he withdraws some 1 lakh rupees for a period of 15 days, and after 15 days he gets the money, he can again credit it to the overdraft account. Again, whenever he requires money, he can withdraw it. There should be a operation. So that withdrawal should not exceed 10 lakhs, and it will not exceed because the bank has set the limit for 10 lakhs. For every year, the customer has to bring the account to the credit balance and renew the account, right? So major difference between loans and advances is loans are long term and the advances are short term, right? Then what is KYC and its importance and types of KYC? What is KYC? Should know about KYC because you are going for an interview for the post of clerk, where you will be the person who will be opening the accounts like SB accounts, current accounts, or loan accounts, right? What are the documents which are required to open an account? As everybody knows, Aadhaar card, PAN card. So these are nothing but KYC documents. You should know what are the documents which are considered, which comes under KYC, which are not considered as KYC, right? Basic difference, whether ration card is considered as KYC or not, right? I'm just giving you an example. Just go through the things, okay, and have a clear idea about KYC. Why KYC is required? To just avoid the fraud. If I am going to the bank to open an account, I should produce my Aadhaar card and PAN card. They verify it, then they will open the account. Nobody should go, some other person should not go and open an account, right? So the KYC documents are mandatory, right? Because the customer relationship with the bank starts from opening an account. After opening account, he can take locker, he can take loan, he can open a current account, he can take overdraft facility, right? So the main opening of SB account is the basic thing which will be happening in a bank, and that should be done very clearly and following all the guidelines which has been issued by the bank, right? Hence KYC are very important. Then what are the types of KYC? We have eKYC, we have offline KYC, we have CKYC, and recently video KYC also has been introduced. Just go through about it. What do you mean by eKYC? You will be going to a branch with a hard copy of your Aadhaar card. Already you would have linked your Aadhaar card with your PAN number and your PAN number with your Aadhaar card. When you go to the bank, the banker or the person who is in charge there will take your Aadhaar card's photocopy, right? And he'll check, he'll note down your Aadhaar card number and he will enter the number in UIDAI, right? Then once you enter, you will get an OTP. The customer would be getting an OTP. When the person gives, the customer gives an OTP, which he received from the Aadhaar website, the banker will be noting it down and will be entering into the system. Automatically, all the data will be fetched in the bank's CBS, and easily you can open an account. This is about eKYC. Here, the customer has to just sign on the hard copy of Aadhaar card, right, and give it to him. He will be giving a consent, right? Next, offline KYC. What do you mean by offline KYC? Going to the bank, physically verifying your carrying your hard copies of Aadhaar card, PAN card, or any ID proof, and opening an account. This is the thing which we used to do from the beginning, right? Then next comes CKYC. CKYC means centralized KYC. Here, same thing happens. You will be carrying your ID proofs and address proofs. Again, then you will be creating a customer information number, and all the ID proofs which you have submitted will be fetched into a portal called Sarsai portal, about which we will be discussing in our later slide. Right? Then in that Sarsai portal, all the data is entered about you, and a unique 14-digit number will be given. That 14-digit number will be your ID. Right? Once you do this, you can use this 14-digit ID and open any account in any of the other banks, or you can do any kind of financial transactions in any of the banks. Right? So this is a new concept, and actually this is not a new concept. It has come around 3-4 years back. Now, apart from this, now the private banks have started this another type of KYC called video KYC, in which they will be doing you a video call, okay, and you have to show your ID proofs and address proofs, and they will verify your ID and address proofs virtually. Then they will do the next process, right? So just go through about all the types of KYC. It is very important from the interview point of view, right? Then we'll go to the NPA and what are IRAC norms. What do you mean by NPA? It is a hot topic in a banking sector. So NPA ಯಾವ account ಆಗುತ್ತೆ? Deposit account ಆಗುತ್ತಾ? Loan account ಆಗುತ್ತಾ? Right? First ask yourself. NPA ಆಗೋದು loan accounts because NPA means non-performing asset. Asset means what? The loans or the advances. Correct? Asset andre loans and advances. I already explained about it. Right? So performance means what? When the person who has taken the loan is repaying regularly. Non-performance means what? When the person has taken the loan and he is not repaying regularly. Here they have set a criteria for any account to become NPA. That is, if a person doesn't pay any interest or EMI for a continuous period of 90 days, then the loan account becomes NPA. Right? Before becoming NPA, the account would be standard asset. If the loan is being repaid regularly, that account is called standard asset. If the loan is not being repaid properly, then if it becomes a non-performing asset, then it is called a non-performing account or non-performing asset. And this is also called as substandard asset. Okay. Now, what do you mean by IRAC norm? Just you should have a basic idea about it. Income recognition and asset classification is the long form of IRAC. So in banks, when a person takes loans, the particular loan will be having some numbering which would be given. What kind of loan is this? Whether it is being repaid regularly or not. All the standard accounts. What do you mean by standard accounts? For which the customer is paying regularly will be having IRAC below 4. Once the account has a IRAC status of 4, it means it has become NPA. That account which has IRAC status of 4 is called a substandard asset. When the account becomes NPA, the account will be substandard asset for a period of 1 year. If the person doesn't pay any amount after the account becomes NPA for a period of 12 months, the account will be in called substandard asset. After that, it will be called as doubtful asset, right? And after that, loss asset. So who will mark it as a loss asset? Any internal auditor, any external auditor who is coming from RBI, right? They will be marking the particular loan account as loss asset. What is a loss asset? An account which does not have any security, whose security is 0, or the security had been taken at the time of sanctioning the loan, but the security is exhausted. The security doesn't have any value. Such accounts are called loss assets. Such assets are called loss assets. Fine. So do one thing, just Google about NPA and read about it, and also read about IRAC norms. It may be very helpful for your interview. We'll go to the next question, that is classification of assets, which I already covered. Standard asset, non-performing asset, which is called substandard for a period of 12 months. After that, it will be doubtful asset, then loss asset, right? Then PCA, prompt corrective action. What do you mean by prompt corrective action? The RBI has introduced this PCA framework very recently, that not very recent, around 2-3 years back. Why? Because the RBI wants to intervene in the bank's activity and to regulate the performance of the bank. The RBI has introduced this PCA framework. What does PCA framework stands for? Suppose if a bank has more number of or huge number of NPA, then RBI will include that bank in the list of PCA, prompt corrective action, and the RBI doesn't allow that particular bank to lend the money. It will restrict the operations done by the bank. So just have a basic idea about PCA, right? Now we'll go to the next topic called crop loan. What do you mean by crop loan? Already ನಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ crop ಅಂದ್ರೇನು, ಬೆಳೆ ಸಾಲ. Crop loan is a loan which is given to the farmer. There are two types of loans. One is short term and another is long term. Short term is a period of 1 year, right? So ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ? The farmer will come to the bank, he'll ask, I want to raise paddy, I want to raise sugar cane, right? So for such things the bank will be sanctioning the loan. Now the important thing is, what is the major importance about crop loan? If you compare all the other loans with the crop loan, the interest which is being charged by the bank for crop loan is very less. Why? Since farmers are the backbone of the country, and the amount which they earn is very less, and if the bank charges more interest on the crop loan, the farmer would not be in a position to repay. Hence, the government and the RBI charges and the banks charge very less rate of interest. What is the present rate of interest which is charged for a crop loan? 7%, right? And in that 7%, if the farmer repays the loan within 1 year with interest, okay, then he will be getting a interest subsidy from Government of India and Government of Karnataka. 2% from Government of India, 1% from Government of Karnataka. So if you analyze, if the farmer who has taken the loan, if he repays it within 1 year, he would be charged only 4%, which is very, very, very less, right? Hence, you should be knowing about KCC and crop loan. What about KCC? KCC is nothing but Kisan Credit Card. KCC is issued for a farmer who has availed a crop loan. What is the benefit of using or issuing a KCC? Suppose if a farmer wants to purchase some fertilizers, he will be going to a fertilizer shop, okay, and if he uses that KCC card in that particular shop, he will be getting some discounts, some subsidy, right? Hence, KCC card is nothing but it is like just a ATM card or a debit card which is issued to a crop loan account. So just have a basic idea about crop loan, right? Then what is SARFAESI Act and its role, and what is SARFAESI? Both are interconnected with non-performing assets. When the loan account becomes not NPA, SARFAESI is invoked. Invoked means when a loan is given by taking up non-agricultural property as security, the bank will invoke SARFAESI when the account becomes NPA. SARFAESI cannot be invoked for the loans which have agricultural property as security. Only for the loans which have non-agricultural property as security, right? What is the process of SARFAESI, right? You should be knowing about. When the loan account becomes NPA, right, the bank will immediately issue a demand notice saying that you should be repaying the overdue amount within 60 days, or else we will be taking the symbolic possession of the property. Once, if the customer still doesn't repay after issuing notice and after 60 days, right, the bank will issue a symbolic possession notice physically going into the place which have been taken as security, right? Then he will be given a period of 1 week. Even if he doesn't repay, then the bank will go and take the physical or actual possession of the property with the help of police officers, right? Next, where the SARFAESI can be invoked, for how much amount the SARFAESI can be invoked. Suppose if a person has taken a loan of 1 lakh, can you invoke SARFAESI? No. Why? There is a exception for the loans whose sanctioned amount is 1 lakh or less than 1 lakh. The banks cannot invoke SARFAESI. And another exception is there. What is that exception? Suppose if bank has sanctioned a loan of 20 lakhs, and if the outstanding balance is less than 20% of the loan sanctioned, that is 20% of 20 lakhs. Outstanding balance 20% ಕಿಂತ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಇದ್ರೆ SARFAESI invoke ಮಾಡಕ್ ಆಗಲ್ಲ, right? So he should be knowing about the process of surfacing. Yavag surfacing invoke agutte, right? You just visit the website or the we will be discussing about surfacing in our coming classes, right? Next, what is Sarsai? To invoke Sarsai, one, the bank should enter the property details in the Sarsai portal. Why? Suppose some X person has taken a loan in one bank, right, by mortgaging his one house. He will go to the other bank and he will mortgage the same property. It can be done, right? So he will also get a loan there, and he will not repay the loans at the both the banks. Okay, let us assume that. Fine. Now the bank, as soon as it mortgages the property, it should enter the details of the property, details of the person in the Sarsai portal, so that the amount which the bank gets after auctioning the property should be coming to the bank. Suppose the first bank has registered the property details in its Sarsai portal, right, and the second bank has not registered, the entire amount will be coming to the first bank. So assume that if both have registered the property details in the Sarsai portal, the bank which has done first the entry, the details in the Sarsai portal, will get the maximum share of the amount which the bank gets after auctioning the property, right? So just have the basic idea about Surfacey and Sarsai portal, right? Already we discussed about Sarsai portal related to CKYC. Now the main important thing, that is RBI. What is RBI? Who is RBI? RBI is nothing but boss of all the banks. RBI ಅಂದ್ರೇನು? Reserve Bank of India. Headquarters ಎಲ್ಲಿದೆ? Mumbai ಎಲ್ಲಿದೆ. Who is the governor of RBI? Shaktikant Das. All these things we know. Apart from this, we should also know about the functions of RBI. What RBI ಏನು ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ? What does RBI do? It issues notes. It means coin. It controls the bank, or you can say it regulates the bank, right? It issues, or it is the sole authority which issues monetary policy. What do you mean by monetary policy? It is a very important topic. Monetary policy is a framework through which the Reserve Bank of India controls the inflation and deflation in the country, right? You might be knowing about repo rate, reverse repo rate, CRR, SLR. All these are the instruments or tools which come under monetary policies. RBI uses these tools to control the inflation and deflation. You should have the basic idea about monetary policy, because monetary policy is the most important function of the Reserve Bank of India. Just make a list of functions of RBI and give more importance to monetary policy. Then we'll go to the payment and settlement system. What do you mean by payment and settlement system? Here, earlier we didn't have this mobile IMPS, UPI, right? Earlier we used to go to the bank, we used to submit a check issued by someone, right? And that check used to go somewhere, and after 2-3 days the amount used to be credited in your bank, right? Checks, demand drafts, pay orders, all these come under paper based clearing system, right, where there is a physical movement or involvement of some papers like checks, demand drafts, pay orders, right? And another is electronic based clearing system. What do you mean by electronic based clearing system? You might be having about ECS, you might be having idea about NEFT, RTGS, IMPS, UPI, right? What do you mean by NEFT? National Electronic Fund Transfer. What you require to do it? If suppose I want to transfer some amount from my account to my wife's account, so what should I know? I should be knowing her account number, her account's IFSC code, right? Her account in which bank she has an account, right? All these things I should be knowing, right? For NEFT and RTGS, you should be knowing about IFSC code and the basic account number, right? Just go through about it. IMPS, immediate payment service. UPI, what do you mean by UPI? You will be going to a shop to purchase something, then you will just scan the QR code and the amount will be transferred from your account to the other person's account, right? That is called UPI, Unified Payment Interface. Who has introduced UPI? The government of India has introduced a UPI. Through whom? NPCI. So if the interviewer asks, what do you mean by UPI? How does it work? You should be in a position to answer it, right? UPI has been introduced by NPCI. What is NPCI? National Payment Corporation of India. All the payment and settlement systems are controlled by NPCI, and NPCI is controlled by RBI. In other words, what you can say is RBI controls the payment and settlement system of the banks through NPCI, right? So you should be knowing about UPI, NPCI and RBI's other functions also. And now we'll go to the DBT, direct benefit transfer. What do you mean by direct benefit transfer? Earlier, what used to happen? Suppose a person is getting some amount from the government. So the government used to send amount to some local or government office through which the customer or the person used to get the amount. Now, what the central government is doing is they are directly transferring the amount to the beneficiary, right? So best example is LPG subsidy. How do you get LPG subsidy? You will be giving your Aadhaar card copy to the gas agency. At the same time, you will be giving your Aadhaar card to the bank, right, where you have account. So your Aadhaar will be linked to the bank, your bank account, right? So automatically the subsidy will be coming to your account, right? You are not going to agency to collect the subsidy. You are not going to collect some other officers to collect the subsidy. It is being given directly to the customer's account, right? Another important thing is PM Kisan Yojana, right? PM Kisan, where the farmer is getting 2,000 rupees, right? Once in a while, right? So adu kuda bala important, right? So you should be knowing about DBT, right? Next, debit cards, especially RuPay payment network. What do you mean by debit cards? See, let us have an example. I have an account in X bank. I have around 50,000 balance in my account. How will I be withdrawing the amount? First option, I'll be going to the bank. I'll be writing the withdrawal and I'll be giving to the officer there, and he or she will be giving the amount to me, right? That is one way. And what about other ways? They are issuing debit cards. How will debit card work? It will be having a card number. You will go to the ATM, you will enter the PIN and you will enter the amount how much ever you want and you can withdraw it, right? That is nothing but debit card. So how many types of debit cards we have, right? We have Master cards, we have Master cards, we have Visa cards. Then what about RuPay? These three cards, Master, Visa cards are the regulating agencies are foreign bodies. They are controlled by foreign organizations because they don't belong to Indian organizations. RuPay payment network is a network started by NPCI again. Okay, so here RuPay card is issued to the customer and he can use the card to withdraw amount from his account. The thing is, RuPay cards are being used in India only, and nowadays some other countries are also accepting or allowing the customers to use RuPay cards. What is the benefit of using a RuPay card, right? The using of RuPay card is important because you might be aware of PMJDY, Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana accounts, right? In the year 2014, this product was started from the central government, right? So the accounts which are opened under PMJDY have been issued RuPay cards. So the RuPay cards which are related to the PMJDY accounts have an insurance of rupees 1 lakh, right? So that is very important. It is issued by NPCI and it is the RuPay cards can be used in India and in some other countries, right? Only few countries are allowing, right? Now we'll be going to credit cards. What do you mean by credit cards? Credit Sala, loan again, right? Suppose if your dealings are good with the bank, the person from the bank will call you. Sir, will be very happy to issue a credit card to you since your financial dealings are very much satisfactory. Correct? So you will be going to the bank, you will be completing the formalities, and you will be taking the credit card, and you will go and you will purchase some shirt or pant, something. Okay, and you will be using the credit card. Say assume that you have used it for a rupees 1000, right? So 1000 will be the loan amount. After 1 month or what, after billing period, you have to repay it. For just a particular period, the credit or the loan which you have taken, the 1000 which you have taken, will be interest free. If you don't repay after that billing date or due date, interest will be charged on that amount, right? It is nothing but loan, right? Not going to the bank, you can avail the credit by just using the credit card. Right? Now we'll be going to the next slide. I again request you, please note down the questions which have been written here and make a note of it and go through all questions, and you should be in a position to answer each and every question. Next is major government schemes introduced in the past few years. PMJJBY, PMSBY, APY, PMAY, PMAPY. Right? These are very, very important. So before starting with PMJJBY, there is one thing which I missed. That is PMJDY, Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana account. Why the government started that PMJDY account? That you should know about it. Why it has started? It is just because financial inclusion. It is a very hot topic. What do you mean by financial inclusion? The poorest of poor should get the banking facility. Suppose if you go to a rural village, right, you will be surprised to see there are n number of people who will not be having any account in the bank. Whatever they earn by selling the crops, they will keep that amount in their house, right? So that will be spent for some or the other reasons. Just to create awareness about savings, the government of India has introduced Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana account. What is the benefit of opening a PMJDY account? The first benefit is you will be getting a RuPay card, right? And RuPay card has an insurance of rupees 1 lakh. Second benefit is you will be getting a overdraft facility of rupees 10,000. Suppose I have a PMJDY account. I am in need of some amount and I am doing a business activity. I need 5,000. I can approach a bank saying that I have a PMJDY account. I am running so and so business and I want 5,000 rupees overdraft facility. So without security, the bank will be giving you 5,000 overdraft facility, which you have to repay within 1 year, and again you can renew it further, right? So this is the main important feature of PMJDY account. Next is PMJJBY. PMJJBY means Pradhan Mantri Jeevan Jyoti Bima Yojana. As the premium is mentioned here, the premium is 436 rupees, right? 436 rupees you have to pay once in a year and you are insured. For how much amount? 2 lakhs, right? Suppose if a person has enrolled in PMJJBY and he has paid the premium regularly, okay? Suppose if anything happens to him, any type of death, then he will be in a position, he will be getting 2 lakhs rupees, right? So it is very important topic, and these are nothing but insurance schemes of government which are done or executed through banks, right? Then PMSBY, Pradhan Mantri Suraksha Bima Yojana. Here the premium amount is 20 rupees. In case if a person who has enrolled in PMSBY insurance scheme, if he meets with an accident and if he doesn't survive, okay, then his nominee will be getting 2 lakhs rupees. At the same time, 2 lakhs rupees from PMJJBY, because PMJJBY and PMSBY, if the person has enrolled for both the schemes, he will be, suppose if he meets with an accident and if he doesn't survive, he will be getting 2 lakhs from this and 2 lakhs from this. Suppose if he doesn't pass away due to accident or he dies just of any other death, then he will be getting only 2 lakhs rupees. By just paying a premium of 456 rupees for a year. Then Atal Pension Yojana. What do you mean by Atal Pension Yojana? Here I have not mentioned the enrollment period. Example, yaru PMJJBY alli enroll ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. What is the minimum age criteria? What is the maximum age criteria? Why? Because I want you people to go and read about it. Then PMSBY. What again? Same thing. What is the age criteria? Then Atal Pension Yojana. Suppose if a person is doing some small job, right, and he doesn't have any pension given by the his employer. So after the age of 60, he will be he'll not be in a position to work, and he needs money for his survival. So for such people, the government of India has introduced this scheme where the person who has enrolled in APY will be contributing monthly. Okay, after the age of 60, he will be getting the pension. Now the thing is, who are eligible and what is the pension amount? Please go through about it, and we will see in the next class. Right? The pension amount he would be getting is from 1,000 to 10,000. That is the maximum amount presently which is there in the APY. Right? Next, PMAY. What do you mean by PMAY? Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana. So the people who are constructing house, who are already have a plot and wants to construct a house, those who want to purchase a ready-made house, those who want to purchase a ready-made apartment or a flat can get a benefit of interest subsidy in Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana. There are some 3-4 criteria based on the income. LIG, low income group, MIG, middle income group, HIG, high income group. Right? What is the interest subsidy the government pays? Who pays the interest subsidy? NHB, National Housing Bank. Right? You should be having a basic idea about all the government schemes. Then Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana. Fasal means what? Crop. It is related to crop loan. Suppose if a person or if a farmer is growing some crop in his agriculture field, and due to some natural calamity the crop fails, or take an example of excess rain, the crop gets washed out, then who will be paying the amount? To the farmer. So the farmer will be insuring his crop before sowing the seeds. So in case of any calamity, in case of any loss in his crops, the crops will be insured, and the government will pay through insurance company some amount as the compensation. Right? Should be knowing about PMFBY also. Right? Next is, what is insurance? Insurance is nothing but, what is insurance? Insurance is a protection against any eventuality. What do you mean by eventuality? Any mishappening, any kind of death, any kind of theft. Right? So you should be having basic definition about insurance. What type of insurance we have? General insurance, health insurance, then life insurance. Some important insurance companies like LIC, United India Insurance, National India Assurance, right? So just have a basic idea about insurance. Why we should be knowing about insurance? When we are attending the interview for a bank post like clerical or officer, because nowadays banks are just not doing the banking, they are also selling the insurance products through which they will be earning some commission, which will be helpful for their income generation. Right? Now the next question is, who is the insurance regulator? Who controls the insurances or insurance policies or the agencies which provide insurance? IRDAI. I am not telling the full form of IRDAI. You please write it down and go through it. Next, does the bank provide insurance services? Banks only help in cross-selling the insurance policies. Bank does not provide insurance on its own. That is a basic thing you should be knowing about it. Next is important. What do you mean by bank insurance? Bank insurance is nothing but cross-selling of the insurance policies through bank. That is nothing but bank insurance. Now, you should also know about some important persons like MD, CEO, or cabinet ministers of finance and cabinet ministers of commerce, which are related to financial sector. Who is the present finance minister? Everybody knows, Srimati Nirmala Sitharaman. Who is the present commerce minister? Shri Piyush Goyal, right? You should be knowing about MD or CEO of Karnataka Bank. So, bankers, it was just an attempt to make you clear or get an idea about the questions which could be asked in the interview for the post of clerk in Karnataka Bank, right? So, what I suggest is we cannot answer all the questions because we have limited knowledge, or we have the knowledge at the time of interview. We will not be in a position to answer because of the nervousness or tension, correct? So, if you don't know the answer, please tell them that you don't know. If you know it, answer it. If you are not comfortable in answering the question in English, try to answer in other language which you know. Let it be Hindi, English, Hindi, Kannada, Telugu, Tamil. That is fine. But just don't keep quiet. If you don't know it, please tell them that you don't know the answer, right? And always be positive, stay calm, and go through all the questions which we have mentioned here. And I wish you all the best for your interview. Thank you.